All right, buddy. So go ahead and tell me your name and where you're from.
My name is Scott. I'm from Louisiana, but after Katrina, I had to spend some time in South Carolina. I got relocated to South Carolina. Uh,
Okay. Uh, we discussed a little bit about the places that you've done time in. You said you've done time in Angola and Louisiana, and that's another notorious prison that I want to talk about. But today, and Louisiana is where it all started, correct?
right,
Your
right, right,
prison,
right.
your prison, going to prison and stuff like that. Uh, but I want to talk about South Carolina today because you were in a very well-known prison called Lee Correctional, where one of the biggest riots that happened in decades.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it took place, and that's how I want to start this off. We'll hit up Louisiana on a part two if you happen
that's
to
cool.
want to come back on. All right, so tell me, how the hell did you end up in prison in South Carolina?
All right. So when I done a little I done a burglary. So I ended up in Wateree. That's where I started out at Wateree in South Carolina, and I had a 5 year sentence, a 7 year sentence, and uh, I ended up on tractor detail. And what we did is we farmed the land really, and so I had free range of everything. All I did was drive tractors all day long, all
In
day
prison?
in prison. That's what I did.
Oh, wow.
And
So what was the name of this facility again?
Wateree Correctional Center.
Watery Correctional. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's pretty much like a camp or a work kind of
Yeah,
camp.
Yeah, it's a work camp for trustees and stuff. That's I was a trustee, but I hooked up with a guy on the inside, and he wanted me to start bringing in pounds of weed once a month, and so
Pounds.
yeah, pounds. So and it was pretty easy because all I had to do really is what I did is I took the shrink wrap we had off of truckloads of shit that we had come in, and I'd wrap it up in the net, and I just run it over a tractor a couple times, flatten it out. It flattens out pretty good, especially a big John Deere tractor. But
Holy shit, man.
I knew the guard gate number, so I'd get on the phone. I'd call the back guard gate, see who was on the guard gate, and certain ones wouldn't go through an extensive search. And so it just so happened that guy picked up the phone, so I knew that it's time I can move stuff. And that's what I did. I come in there and I'd just have two bundles next to my waist in my long johns, and I'd walk straight on through. I done that with cell phones, all that stuff. And I did that for 2.5 years. And
That's crazy. And were you walking back into this? It was a low-level prison that you were walking
yeah,
back into. Okay.
and all I do is just walk by a dude's bunk and just throw it on his bed, and he wouldn't know it was coming. I just throw it on his bed, and he'd be all freaked out. Next thing you know, the yard's hopping.
Oh damn! You were the club master without you. Hey, holy shit, dude! How
But
much? If you don't mind me asking, man, how much money were you making doing this type of shit?
all I was, I mean, me and my friends, we didn't have to worry about eating or nothing like that. Um, we always had smoke, so we didn't have to worry about that. And plus, I wasn't even there. All I did was sleep there, really. That's
Yeah.
how I look at it, because I was on the farm all the time working, and that's what I chose to do. And but they got haters. You know how haters are, and
Yeah.
so I got set up. And so when I got set up, it was kind of funny because I was going out to disc some fields and stuff, and went to go do the pickup. And when I went to do the pickup, the jump out boys on 4 wheelers and everybody come out on me, right? So I'm hauling ass down the dirt road, looking in this bag, and it's just a grass. That's all it is, just long grass. I'm like, oh. So when I look back, I see all them 4 wheelers and a truck behind me. So I open up the back window. I dropped the blade to the disc, and I started discing the ground and jumping all that stuff down. Dropped the bag down there, tore it all up. They drug me up the tractor. They threw me in the hole, packed all my stuff, and I didn't even get to go on back on the compound. They left me in the van, handcuffed, hogtied, and they come out with my stuff with transfer papers to Manning Correctional. So I go there, and I'm on the yard for a week, and then all of a sudden they get the paperwork. I'm in the hole for 54 days, and because I gotta go for this,
Yeah.
and my charge was that I attempted to attempted to something to do with contraband, and I was like, well, I done looked through all their rule books and stuff. There's no such charge. And so when I brought that up, the disciplinary judge, she was like, well, I got to go with the office statement and all this stuff, so we're going to send you to Lee Correctional. I was like, oh wow.
Oh shit. Well, hold on. I hate to stop you, man. I want to reverse it. I want to really understand this really quick. Just reverse it. Was someone trying, did they really have to persuade you to do this, or were you like, yeah, let's do it right off the break?
What you talking about with the weed thing?
Yeah, were they pressuring you to do it? Or
no. I knew,
okay.
dude. I knew him, and so I didn't have that problem. I never clicked up with nobody. I never had, like, you hear all these stories. I've seen some people that they have to click up with this person, or you got to click up with that person. I never had to go through it. I'm 6'4". I'm not saying I'm a badass, but I can take care of myself.
Okay.
And
okay.
so I didn't have that problem.
Okay.
And,
now was Lee Correctional like a notorious prison in South Carolina before all this happened in the news and everything?
No, it was just tough. It was just it is the Angola of Louisiana, actually, to be honest with you.
Okay, and this is a higher level. I'm guessing level 4 or 5.
3.
It's level 3.
It only goes to level 3. 3 is the only highest level they go. It's 1, 2, or 3.
Okay, yeah, and over here in Virginia it goes up higher levels. Okay, so that is the maximum security prison for South Carolina, and
right.
So they ship you there, man. They ship you there. Yeah, they didn't try to give you no street charges.
Well, they was gonna do that, but when I brought up that my rebuttal to their charge, they couldn't do it. And all of a sudden, somehow the prosecutor or the detective that arrested me, he was on vacation at the time that I was going to court. So, it was like, wow, all right. It was just a big hater thing, and
yeah.
People was getting paid off. I'll tell you that now. People, like all the guards, they knew. Yeah. I mean, they knew. When you got 15, 20 cell phones coming in a week's time and all that stuff and all that pot, they know what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's not the only thing. I mean, Lee was off the chain, man. I was standing in the yard. These people are shooting potato guns out of the woods, and they shooting cell phones over the fence. They shooting dope over the fence.
Damn.
And these dudes actually lift up the fence and crawl under the fence and then low crawl out there, go grab all that shit, and then crawl back in. But this is like a click, so they knew, they knew when it was coming, how it was coming, all that stuff. It's just wild how some of that stuff gets in there, and you just, as long as there's people that work in a prison, there's always going to be illegal stuff. So that's just how it is.
I mean, with Lee Correctional being so much tougher than the prison that you're used to, I mean, did you have any issues in there going in for your first week or so?
Actually, I really didn't have no issues with anybody in South Carolina. My issue was in Louisiana, and that was my first time ever doing time, and that was when I had my first issue. And after that, I really didn't have no problem because I knew how to carry myself. Because if you act like a man, you treat people like a man. It's all about respect, If you give people respect, they'll give respect back. And you just gotta stay away from the dumb stuff. That's all it's about,
Yeah.
But me, being the rebel I was, I was the one bringing in the pot. I was the one at the card tables all the time. I
good old poker player, huh?
Oh yeah, they didn't like to see this white boy at the table.
Oh, what was your favorite poker game, man?
We played 7-card stud, 45, all that stuff.
45, I ain't heard that one before. Y'all play Dookie? You ever heard of Dookie?
Nah, if I did, I just don't remember. Man, it's been so long. I try to put that life behind me. I don't, because that's not who I am today. Like I told you before, I lost my family when I first went in, and just 7 years ago, I received my family back. I got my wife back, I got my kids back. I got a grandson now. I'm just doing the right thing.
That's excellent, man. It's
excellent. Just that type of life is in my past, And sure, there's some stories, and you know, I've most of my stories is as far as like fights and stuff that had to be at a later time because that's that's kind of funny too. But my second time that I got to Lee County was really when I saw a lot of stuff because I went back for a probation violation. I took off to Canada. I met this chick, took off to Canada, came back. This is before I got back with my family, and so I violated my probation for absconding. They brought me back to Lee County. That's where they brought me. That's wherever you left from. That's where they send you back to. I was like, shit. So
That's crazy, man.
right. And well, in my sentence, I was required to go through Blue Walters treatment program, and my first time through, I skipped it, which I really was glad because I wasn't ready to go through that stuff yet, you know. And so, but my second time they caught me, and so, but my first day there, they throw me in like even on the yard they have levels in the dormitory. They got level 1 dorm, level 2 dorm, level 3 dorm.
Okay.
So as we walking, I'm going to a level 2 dorm. I don't know why, but I am because I'm a trustee status, and so I'm going to the level 2 dorm, which is on lockdown. They've been on lockdown for 53 days for a stabbing over a cell phone, and so as we walking down there, you know, I've never heard somebody talk like this, but you hear a bunch of people, you know, the window's only this big, you know, so yay big. But they're all up in the windows screaming to like 15 of us, talking about, let me get that throat. Let me get that throat. I'm like, what the hell are they talking about?
That throat?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I was like, what the hell? Now, this is in the level 3 dorm saying all this stuff. I'm like, what the hell are they talking about? And then they all wearing pink jumpsuits. Well, they're freaking perverts.
Yeah.
Oh,
so they're in there for sex charges and stuff like that. Yeah.
I was like, oh, wow. So I get into this level 2 dorm, and I'm in there.
Well, you had to walk past the level 3 dorm or something?
Oh, yeah. It's like level 3, level 2, and then the level 1. Well, Blue Walters was in the level 2 dorm. So that's how I figured, but it was on a different section. There's like 2 different sides, A and the B side.
Uh-huh.
And I was in A. And so when I went in there, they put me in this room with this young kid. He was young, man, but he had a lot of time. And his charge was because he was what they call them people, home invasion type dudes. Okay. He would go, and what he was doing, he was going in there, and man, he done some sick shit. He would, it was mostly dope dealers. He did it to, you know, hog tying or whatever. First thing he just said, he'd turn all the burners on the stove. And he'd had that lady's face or his face, you know, that close to the burner, you know, trying to find out where the stuff's at.
Damn, did he tell you all that?
Yeah, he was in there telling me this stuff. You know, by that night, I was like, oh, man, I got to sleep with an eye open. I don't know if he's going to try to throw me in the oven.
Yeah.
But eventually we got off lockdown, and I think I was in there like 8 days with them locked down. I couldn't get away from it. And so the morning of us getting let go from lockdown, everybody goes to breakfast, except for a couple dudes. And so when we come back from breakfast, there's a big commotion going on across the way. I was up. There's 2 tiers. I was on the top tier, and it was across the way. So I'm like, what the hell's going on over there? I'm just staying in my room because, you know, I'm just in there. I don't know nobody. I'm not trying to get involved in nobody's dumb shit. Trying to, you know, feel my way around. And so next thing I know, I hear some guys talking about a cell phone. And somebody took it at breakfast. I was like, oh, shit. And then when they came in the room, they was talking to the little kid, and they was asking about me. And he said, no, he was with me when we went to breakfast. So, he didn't do it. And so they found out who did it. About 20 minutes later, they had a couple guys standing at the top of the stairs. They had a couple guys standing at the bottom of the stairs. And when that guy got halfway down the stairs, they rushed him. And they started sticking him, hitting him with locks, all kinds of stuff. It was crazy because the dude was running all over the place. And they was just chasing him, beating him. When they got finished beating him, he was by the guard's door. And they had 2 guards in there. but they couldn't do nothing. They just
Yeah.
sitting there. They just sitting there watching it, and that's all they could do. And then next thing you know, red team comes in, and they do that. They do what they do, and toss everybody's cell and all that stuff, and lock us down for 60 days. I was like, oh shit. And then by that time, I became a trustee and yard maintenance. I was on yard maintenance. So they moved me out of there and put me in the dorm, lesser dorm, which is a one. And I was there. I forgot the names of these dorms, to be honest with you. And I went there, and then they had before I ended up having to go to Blue Waters program while I was there too. And so while I was a trustee there, though, on the yard, they had me going. Remember, I was telling you about them lifting the fence and and all that stuff. They had me going around with flat bar, and we was welding it, weaving it through the bottom of the fence to stop them from doing that.
Yeah.
So they had us doing that, and then they did it again. So the dorm got locked down for like 30 days or something, no wreck. And so when they got off a wreck, they tried to do it again. They couldn't, because in them 30 days, they had us digging 4 feet deep, putting cement around it. So they can't do it. They went all out, man. Them dudes is crazy. They even got to where they was trying to fly drones in, all this stuff. It was weird.
Well, tell me a little bit about the society in that prison, man. Was because I know there are people that fall victim, man. I mean, what did you see anybody fall victim at all in prison over there in South Carolina?
Man, I seen. When you come in, it's your choice if you're gonna be a man or if you're gonna be a punk, right? So if you allow yourself to be that way, that's because you are that way. I've actually heard somebody tell this one kid, he came in, he was like 17, 18, told him, he says, you got 30 minutes to decide who you want to be with. And there was like 3 dudes right there. And you got 30 minutes. And so they left him alone.
What do you mean want to be with?
But they're going to be their old man.
Oh, sleep with, that's going to be their boyfriend.
Oh, yeah.
So they lined up and said, you got a pick of these 3 beautiful men.
No. These 3 guys came up to him and said, you have 30 minutes to choose who's going to be your husband.